We welcome into Says Who Sports right now a player who leads the nation in home runs in women's softball, who now ranks second all time in home runs, a player who lives in prime zip code near the top of several offensive categories, leads the country in total bases, third in the country in RBIs, batting average, hits, runs, on base percentage, leads the nation in slugging percentage. Her Miami of Ohio team leads the nation in scoring, third in the country in batting average. Oh, who's ahead of them? Only a couple of teams called Texas and Oklahoma. She leads a trio of sluggers and a tourney-tested team, number 23 ranked team in the country and MAC champions, into the D1 softball tournament regionals in Knoxville beginning later this week. One of Chicago's finest softball players, Karli Spaid. Karli, thanks for joining us at Says Who Sports. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. What an intro.
You earned it. You and your teammates have earned it. And Karli, on that note, so much offense, so many weapons. You and Jenna battling back and forth. And forgive me, is it pronounced Golembeski? Is that correct?
Golem
Jenna's last name?
Golembeski. Golembeski, I think it is.
Golembeski, yes.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a couple.
Okay, gotcha. You and she back and forth, and you guys are serious punch in the lineup, but several sluggers, a lot of weapons for the offense. You guys lead the nation in scoring. But talk about the general team approach. Obviously, as I just mentioned, for all those reasons, so much attention and focus on your team's offense, but talk about your approach in general, because it has to be truly one hitter at a time, one at bat at a time, right?
Definitely. I think we all just play so loose, and like when we do play loose is when we do good. So we just go out every game and try to have as much fun as we possibly can. And like if you've ever seen a game, you definitely know that we're having a lot of fun. And then like mentality up and down the lineup is just like having a lot of trust in every player that we have. So going up and getting your at bat, you don't have to produce every single time in order to have a successful game with your team. Like we have a lot of trust with the person in front of you, person behind you. Like no matter what, somebody on this team is going to get it done. That's why you see like it's not the same person every single time. There's not one hero every single game. Like I think this season, almost every single one of our players got MAC Player of the Week. Like I feel like that's what makes this team so special is every single person is doing it when their time comes.
That's well said. How has Coach Kumar contributed to that looseness, having fun, as you say, but also there's a built-in focus. I mean, you guys are locked in and it's about winning. How has she made you better as a team and you individually, Karli?
Yeah. Well, she lets us be the ones to have fun. Like if she always says like let me be the one that's stressed out, let me be the one that gets angry at bad calls like so you can definitely like see she's a little bit more amps up during games, especially if they're like closer versus a rival or something, so that we don't have to worry about it and we can just have fun. So I think we always have that in the back of our minds that she's going to fight our battles for us. We can just go out and hit and play softball and have fun doing it. And then from like a hitting and coaching standpoint, she's just one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to softball. She has an answer for everything.
Mm,
Um, like literally things you don't even think about, like where to measure a base, like when you're putting out bases.
interesting.
Like she knows exactly where you have to put the measuring tape, like in the middle. Like it's little things like that that you don't even think about behind the scenes. She has an answer for it all. So when it comes to hitting or pitching or fielding, you can go to her and know you're going to get good feedback.
Describe that approach of her scheduling such that your team is battle tested? And first of all, you guys have this. Is this the fourth consecutive year in the tourney now? At least the
Yeah.
third, right? That you've made the
Four,
tourney.
yeah.
Right. So you got fourth. So you've been there with that. Also, regular season non-conference battles. I mean, MAC champions, as mentioned. But you open the season at Oklahoma. I mean, no more high-profile program in place. And a player named Karli Spaid hit the first home run at Oklahoma at their new ballpark. Talk about her scheduling approach and how that has contributed to team confidence as you go into the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, being in the MAC, we're not playing top 25 teams every single weekend, so it's important during that preseason when we do have the time to schedule those teams. We get them in so we know that we can compete against them, which we did this preseason. We've done every single year. Um, she likes to make it hard for us, but we have so much fun. Like, we want to play those teams. We want to show everybody what we're about. And we just have a lot of trust going against those teams because we feel like that's our time to really show everybody who Miami softball is, because you don't get to see as much of it during the regular season. And then going into postseason, those preseason games definitely prepare us for the big stage. Like, there's no bigger stage than Oklahoma's brand new stadium for the first game ever played. Like, that was the loudest game I've ever been a part of in my life, and I'm screaming nonstop. So just being able to prepare when it doesn't necessarily matter, and then having that experience when it does, is really important.
You said, I think as recently as your early last season, that you didn't consider yourself a clutch player. Do you consider yourself a clutch player now, and why?
I think I have my moments. Yeah, I think in the past, I've just let the moment get bigger than itself. And this year, throughout the entire year, I've just decided to have fun and not stress about an at bat or about a swing and miss or a bad call by an ump. I think last year I let that get to me a little bit, and you could tell a little bit, but this year I've really just tried to play free and play my game and enjoy what time I have left with my teammates and at this school.
Last year, your Redhawks went to a regional final and lost to a tough Northwestern team right on the edge of the top 10. This week, you head for Knoxville, and you have Tennessee there, and Dayton there, and Virginia, correct? How do you size up that regional and that group of teams?
I think just sticking to our game, like we talk about it all season, whether it's preseason and we're playing the Oklahomas or it's um, conference play and we're playing MAC schools, like not looking at our opponents and playing up or down to their level and just sticking with Miami softball. So no matter who we see, like, it doesn't matter as long as we do what we know how to do, and just have fun doing it, we'll be good.
Miami is no longer an off the radar so-called mid-major. Don't care for the term, I understand it, but you're a ranked team, 23rd, I believe, certainly top 25 going into the tournament, no longer off the radar. Talk about your expectations as a team. Again, you're battle tested.
Yeah, absolutely. We really just want to go out and keep showing everybody who Miami is. Even though we have the ranking and we've been doing things Miami softball has never done, we still feel like the underdogs and we still feel underestimated and like we have something to prove. So, and I think that's when we play our best, when we have a little chip on our shoulder. So, yeah, really just going in, playing, doing our thing, and like still having something to prove.
Let's talk about that Miami offense. As mentioned, a run-scoring machine has been this season. and you're leading the way. And again, a lot of help, a lot of weapons. Talk about your approach to hitting, Karli. Do you watch film? If so, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I definitely watch a lot of film. Not too much because I don't like to overanalyze and overthink because I've been playing the sport of softball for so long. And if I'm not doing something right in a swing one day, it's probably not the biggest adjustment I need to make. So, really just looking at a couple of swings. I look at a lot of foul balls and like, why didn't I hit that pitch? Um, Rather than like looking at my home runs because that was a good swing. Like, just do that. But looking at like foul balls that are good pitches that I normally hit, well, why I'm not hitting those.
So when you step into the box and there's a spotlight on you for power, I mean, you're among the nation's leaders in average too and on base percentage, and again runs across the board. Don't have to look long or far to find Karli Spaid. When you step into the box, though, from a power perspective, you can't be thinking home run, right? What is your approach when you step in? And in essence, you don't really want to think at all or much, right? How does that
Yeah,
work for
no,
you?
absolutely. Um, I definitely like to think about the process more than the outcome. I think in years past, I've thought about the outcome, thought about I need to get this hit or my team's not going to score this inning. Like, I need to hit a home run right now because I want to hit a home run. Like, focusing on the process rather than the outcome has helped me out so much because it really helps you just be in the moment and be in the moment in the box and focus on what you're doing in there. So I have like tiny little cues. It changes every once in a while depending on how my swing feels that day or week or something. But like just telling myself little like mechanic cues like, okay, just get your hips going or just think about going to extension, little things like that clears all of the outside noise as well as the, oh, I need to hit a home run or I need to get on base. Like, I think once you start thinking about the outcomes, you start thinking about how, what happens if that outcome doesn't happen. So, like, then the strikeouts start coming in your mind, then the losing starts coming in your mind. So, just really trying to
Mm,
stay clear of all of that and just keep it simple and not think too much. Tiny cues.
tiny cues, love it. Off the field, you are an academic all MAC. Talk about the rhythm finding, if you will, the rhythm of your days. What are the days like, for example, in the off season versus during the grind of the season and now?
Yeah. So the off season is a little bit more laid back when it comes to softball and the hours that you're putting in every single day, but then the school side starts to pick up a little bit because you're trying to get all of those hours in that you're not going to be able to get during season. So it's being able to balance and prioritize school and then still being able to cut that off once practice starts and being able to focus in on that short amount of time you do have of softball that day. And then lifting is definitely a big part of our off season, working out every single day basically, um, and being very intentional in there because that's where you get power hitters get a lot of the powers from muscle. So you got to build that muscle in the off season because you don't lift as much in season just because of like body fatigue, stuff like that. And then like the in season days are a lot like lighter load, I would say. Definitely school is a little bit lighter. Um, but right now I'm getting in the rest of my credits being a senior, so it's not been the easiest. Definitely been busy this semester. Um, Practices are a little bit lighter in season, just again, the fatigue and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And you're not going to be as worried about like mechanics and stuff like that. Like, again, like little tweaks here and there because you don't want to be going into a practice right before a game and like trying to fix your entire swing. Like, just kind of trusting the process and staying with what you have and believing in what you have already.
So much attention paid to the high powered offense and all the weapons. But let's talk defense for a minute. You're aggressive in the field, and obviously you want to make the play. You want it hit to you. Talk about your approach to defense, Karli.
Yeah, I think like you just have to think about one pitch at a time when it comes to defense. So I like to get my cheering in. I'm very loud on defense. I think that's my time to really cheer up my pitcher, like make sure they're pumped as pumped as I am. And so I'll get in my yapping at the pitcher and then take a big deep breath right before um, she pitches the ball. So, and I think that deep breath helps me focus even after all of the yelling. Like you'll notice I get quiet right before the batter swings the bat. So focusing on one pitch at a time, and then um, after that pitch, if the ball's hit, it's hit. If not, it's not. And then I go back to cheering again. Just kind of like cycle through that, and then yeah, I think defense is. I love defense so much. I think it's not talked about enough. I think it's very fun. Um, but I used to be a middle infielder, shortstops. This is my second full year playing third base. I switched to third base like halfway through my sophomore season, and I love it so much. And I would not want to be anywhere else, but I like the hot corner for sure.
I was just gonna say the hot corner, and it's not for the timid over there. And so, talk to me about you just like at the plate. That's a different type of hand-eye coordination. Talk about that hand-eye coordination at third base, and how have you become better defensively? As you said, second year at third base, and you love it. How have you become better at third base?
Yeah, I think reaction time is definitely your biggest friend at third base. It's basically all reaction when it comes to hard hit ground balls. Just being able to knock it down, and then being okay with if you aren't able to knock it down sometimes, because it is such a hard position. I think probably I've played everywhere in the infield, and I think it's the hardest by far. Just the ball comes at you very quick, and especially with a righty, if they turn
Mm.
on it, you don't really see it coming, and then it's there right away. So I think one of the biggest things about playing third base is knowing that errors are going to happen, but they're okay, and you're going to have many more opportunities to make up for it. So just being able to move on from like little mistakes, because it is such a difficult position.
Well said. Does your team run like tennis ball drills, for example? No gloves. Or I mean, what sort of drills do you do from a defensive perspective?
Yeah. We have these little gloves. Everybody has a miniature glove. It's not much bigger than your hand, but it still has a pocket. So we, like every defensive practice or anything we're doing with defense, we do warm ups with that. So we'll roll each other like little ground balls, work on ones right at you, forehands, backhands, and then we do the same thing all over again, but then do short hops with it. So we'll throw up like really high tosses to make it more difficult, and you got to get it with this little glove, which is difficult but fun. And then we'll go into just ground balls off bats, and we'll use those little gloves again. And those are pretty hard, but also fun. When you make like a really cool play with a little glove that you probably shouldn't, it's fun. And then we'll go into our normal gloves. So it makes the normal glove so much easier, because you have with the little glove, you have to be so much more focused on where the ball is, where your body is, staying low on it. So I feel like this is with everything we do in practice. We do it a lot harder than it actually is to make the games and like our using normal equipment easier.
At the plate for you, what do you look for from the pitcher? From a we'll say tipping signs or tendencies perspective. You're working that, right? How does that work for you?
Yeah. I personally am not good at that at all. I can
Hmm.
never tell like what type of pitch is coming, what um, like what they're doing with their hand or body. Like literally just looking at the ball. But I have a couple teammates that are absolutely outstanding at picking pitches and calling pitches. So once they figure it out, we have little cues and they help me with that stuff a lot. So just like I'm not great at it, but I know a lot of people are. And it's super helpful when they can find stuff and then relay it to us.
We are talking with and learning from one of college softball's premier players in 2024, Karli Spaid of nationally ranked Miami of Ohio, as they head for Knoxville. It's tournament time, the big one beginning here in a couple of days. Just a couple more, Karli. Appreciate know your schedule's hectic. Actually, when do you guys leave for Knoxville?
We leave tomorrow, middle of the day after we practice here.
Gotcha. Um, Karli, describe Coach Kumar's trust in you as a leader.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think she gives all, like, we have a leadership committee, so it's me, Chloe Parks, Holly Blaska, and Kate Kobayashi, and she's very um, matter of fact with she wants it to be a player led team. So when we pick uniforms, when there's any information, she comes to us and we relay it to the team. So that gives us a lot of trust in ourselves. And I think it also um, gives the other girls on the team opportunities to actually speak their voice and share their feelings with us, where trying to go to a head coach for that can be intimidating sometimes, except especially for like freshmen. So I think we love having a player led team. Obviously, she makes the big calls and is the boss, but like being able to have a say means a lot to us, especially those on the leadership committee. And it's just, we feel like we're taking seriously and like what we have to say is seriously um, taken into consideration, which I think that makes us feel like we're contributing more off the field too, which just gives you more buy in for the program overall.
Well said. Great points. Great to learn that. It's ironic that perhaps that you and the team are heading to Knoxville for the regional. You're going to be, am I correct, a grad assistant at Tennessee next year. Be there a couple of years getting your master's, right? Great opportunity. Not that you're looking down the road. Obviously, we understand all of your focus is on the moment, the now, and winning that next game, all of that. Understand that, but great opportunity for you down the road to be learning from that Vols coaching staff. Do you foresee coaching down the road for you, or is it too early to
Yeah,
tell?
yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal. That's something I think I could be good at. I give softball lessons all the time when I'm back home, and I just love seeing a player develop over the time and like when something clicks after you telling them something like about their swing and then it works and then they get super excited. Like I love that feeling. Um, so I definitely think coaching could be in my future, and I think going to work for such an amazing staff like Tennessee, um, that would be the place if I figure out if I want to do it or not. Like if coaching is in my future, if I have the ability to do it, I think that environment would tell me.
And lastly, and again, so thankful to you, Karli, for taking the time as you get ready to head to Knoxville. And I believe special things will happen for you and for the team. Um, what do you foresee tournament wise in terms of, again, as we mentioned, you're not off the radar. There's a target of sorts on you. People are aware of who you are, they're aware of who your team is, and that began again, as we said, at Oklahoma out of the gate to start the season. What do you foresee for the tournament for you and the Red Hawks?
Yeah, I think we're gonna come out guns a blazing, make a lot of noise this
Mm,
postseason. it's super exciting. I think we're all super pumped up. Um, Especially like we've been to Tennessee before, the freshman class. Like my freshman year, our first win was at Tennessee against Ashley Rogers. That's Coach 2K's first win was at Tennessee. So it's kind of a full circle moment, which feels pretty special to us, especially the senior class. And then just again being able to show everybody who we are. Like we still feel a little bit underestimated being a third seed. Um, put that chip on our shoulder, but um, I definitely think we're ready. The team's super pumped. Very exciting stuff. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Great to hear. Let me ask you one last thing too, Karli. You love softball. You've been playing it for many years. The sport, at least from the outside and the interest level, continues to grow. What's your perspective on softball? It's wide open to you.
Love it. I think it's such a great game where you can excel in so many different areas. Like you can be a great hitter, you can be an outstanding fielder, Golden Glove winner, you can be the best pitcher in the country. Like there are so many, you can have speed and have the most stolen. Like there's so many ways to excel in this sport and to shine. And so I think there's just so many opportunities in this sport, whereas like other sports like like stuff like that, I don't know if that makes sense, but like there's so many
Yes.
opportunities for you to be a star and for you to make a name for yourself in this sport, and it's growing. Everybody's getting better. Like the sport just keeps growing, whether that's views in college games, whether that's the pro side of it. Um, Even like in conferences are getting better, teams are getting better. You're seeing schools you've never seen before make the tournament. It's just super exciting stuff. And especially this year, I feel like there's a really level playing field for somebody to make something crazy happen, which is just super exciting.
Well said, Karli. It's been an honor, and we've learned so much from you. Heck, I'm ready to put on a uni and do something. I don't know. Uh, Inspirational you are for sure. Great leader, and most importantly, great for the game. And so we say thank you for everything you've done for college softball. We will be watching. Best to you and the team. Best to your family. And go Redhawks, Karli.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you too. Take care.
You too.